Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi zidni ilma. Quote of the day. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of success. Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Dr. Sadia Rafiq and under the kind supervision of Professor Dr. Sarah Afzal. Today my topic of presentation is evaluation frameworks. Learning outline includes the introduction to monitoring and evaluation frameworks, how and why to develop evaluation frameworks, elements of program evaluation, types of monitoring and evaluation frameworks, including result, conceptual, and logical frameworks, logical frameworks approach/model, log frame metrics, recent updates, and multiple choice questions. Learning outcome. At the end of this presentation, participants will be able to describe monitoring, evaluation frameworks, and their features. Starting with what is monitoring? The systematic and continuous collection, analysis, and use of information for management control and decision-making. The logical framework, the implementation schedule, activity schedules, and project budget provides the basis for program or project monitoring. Evaluation is an assessment, as systematic and objective as possible, of an ongoing or completed project, program, or policy, its design, implementation, and results. The aim is to determine the relevance and fulfillment of objectives, developmental efficiency, effectiveness, impact, and sustainability. An evaluation should provide information that is credible and useful, enabling the incorporation of lessons learned into the decision-making process of both recipients and donors. The difference between both monitoring and evaluation is in three aspects: timings, focus, and level of details. Evaluation frameworks introduction. An evaluation framework, sometimes called a monitoring and evaluation framework, or more recently, a monitoring, evaluation, and learning frameworks, provide an overall framework for evaluation across different programs or different evaluations of a single program. For example, process evaluation, impact evaluation. Monitoring and evaluation frameworks. A clear framework is essential to guide monitoring and evaluation. A framework should explain how the program is supposed to work by laying out the components of the initiative and the order or the steps needed to achieve the desired results. A framework increases understanding of the program's goals and objectives and defines the relationship between factors key to implementation. Types of evaluation. The main types of evaluation are process, impact, outcome, and summative evaluation. How to develop a monitoring and evaluation framework? It uses there should be use of a planning tool. Describe your outputs, set output indicators. Describe your outcomes, set outcome indicators. Plan how to measure soft outcomes. Test knowledge and awareness carefully, and review and prioritize your outcome indicators. Why evaluation framework is developed? Evaluation frameworks facilitate a systematic approach to evaluation and can help mitigate against challenges. Frameworks can enable multiple stakeholders to gain a shared understanding of the program and evaluation process and help to identify and agree upon appropriate objectives and methods. 7 elements of program evaluation. Stakeholders, how stakeholders perceive the program and its impact. Benefits, they realize the benefits and overall impact of the program. Then the financial management and controls, risk, quality, schedule, and recommendations. For example, in the patient management monitoring and evaluation framework, you can see that there are the objectives, then there's the input, expectations, preparations, resources, then the activities and the processes regarding structure, management, interaction, and satisfaction level. Then the learning and the challenging during this all, which includes the learning and changes, and the impact, medicine development, research relevance, and the stakeholders empowerment, reputation and trust, embedding of patients' engagement. All these things, the framework revolves around the institutional context, community context, and the policy context, and the decision-making context. Types of monitoring and evaluation frameworks. There are 3 major types of it. Though there is no ideal framework, different frameworks are used to different situations. Three of the most common are conceptual framework, results framework, and the logical framework slash logic model. First, the result framework, also called a strategic framework, a tool which illustrates the direct relationships between the intermediate results of activities all the way to the overall objectives and goals. It forms a basis for monitoring and evaluation activities at the objective level. For example, these are the main things: inputs, activities, outputs, outcome, and an impact. How, what do we want, and why? These are the basic three questions which revolves around it. The basic one, to inputs, the financial, human, and material resources used for developmental interventions. It comes in resources first to activity. Then activities taken through which the inputs are mobilized to produce specific outputs. Then the things results comes, which includes the outputs, the product, capital goods, and services that results from development interventions. The outcomes is the short-term and medium-term effects of interventions output, changes in developmental condition. And lastly, comes the impact, which is actual or intended changes in human development as measured by people's well-being, improvements in people lives. So output, outcome, and impact, it is our ultimate results. So these are come in the resources, these are the results and the implementation of a program, and that's the planning, which goes retrospectively. Then the conceptual frameworks. Diagrammatic outline that identifies and illustrates relationship among relevant organizational, individual, and other factors, which includes the cultural, economic, social, political, geographic, etc., that may influence a program and the successful achievement of goals and objectives. It does not form a basis for monitoring and evaluation activities, but can help explain program results. For example, if there we need a healthcare innovation, for things we need a quality, cost, safety, efficiency, and the outcome. As far as the patient point of view is concerned, how the patient is seen, how the patient is heard, and how the patient needs are met. These are the concerns regarding patient. And if we come at the healthcare service providers, healthcare practitioner providers, then the information technology, what they will do, and all these come together and will lead to the treatment, which is the should be safe. Then the diagnosis, prevention, education, research, and the outreach teams, how to cater the patients and all the suffering humanity. Logical framework. Logical framework, a log frame, is a tool used in designing, executing, and assessing project via a systematic and a visual approach. It outlines the specific inputs needed to carry out the activities and processes to produce specific outputs, which will result in specific outputs and impact. It seeks to structure the main element in a project and highlight the rational and consistent linkages between them. A logical framework, log is also known as project framework. The logical framework approach slash model. The logical framework approach, LFA, is a systematic and a participatory process for project design and planning. By following the LFA, the project teams are able to document information that will help inform the project's monitoring and evaluation. It helps uncover what the core problem of an issue is and the best way to solve the problem. The LFA uses a logical framework as its models for actualizing monitoring and evaluation within the overall program management. Steps in LFA. The logical framework approach requires the participation of stakeholders and is made up of a number of steps, with each having different tools. There are 7 major steps in LFA. Number 1 is stakeholder analysis, problem analysis, solution analysis, strategy analysis, log frame metrics, activity scheduling timeline, and the resource scheduling budget. The focus of logical framework. A log frame summarizes in a standard format what the project is going to achieve, what activities will be carried out to achieve its output and purpose, what resources inputs are required, the potential problem which could affect the success of the project, and how the progress and ultimate success of the project will be measured and verified. So you can see the logical framework. So there is activity schedule, then the resource schedule, stakeholder analysis, problem analysis, solution analysis, and strategy analysis, and it all leads to log frame matrix. So it is a part of the logical frame approach. The link between LFA and the project management. If we see the first, it starts with the identification, which is the initial project, the need or the opportunity. Then there is a thing of analysis. And all the analysis we have talked about, stakeholder analysis, problem analysis, social analysis, strategy analysis will come in it. Then the design, which is log frame metrics, which show the activity schedule and the resource schedule. Then the design, which makes a draft of monitoring and evaluation plan, project proposal is finalized. Then at this point, proposal is assessed, funding released and received, and after that, there's an implementation. And during this phase, monitoring against log frame and monitoring evaluation plan, review and revise, log frame goes on. At the end, there is evaluation against log frame and monitoring and evaluation plan. So this is a link between the project management and the LFA, and it goes side by side. Uses of the logical framework, program planning and development. The logical framework helps think through the program strategy to help clarify where the program is and the where program should be. Program management, it shows the links between resources, activities, and outcomes, therefore serves as a basis for developing a more detailed management plan. By the means of data collection and the evaluation plan, the logic model helps to track and monitor operations, leading to effective management of results. It can serve as the foundation for creating budgets and work plans. Communication. A well-built logic model is a powerful communication tool. It can show stakeholders at a glance what a performance is doing, which is activities, and what is achieving outcomes, and emphasizing the link between the two. Developing the log frame matrix. A log frame matrix is a concise table that outlines the key features that lead to a project achieving its goal. A log frame consists of a 4 columns by 4 or 5 row matrix table. The first column presents the hierarchy of activities to outcomes that need to occur for the project to succeed. The second column represents the indicators that are appropriate measure of whether the activities, outputs, or outcomes have been achieved. The third column represents the data source or means to verify the indicators. The last column is very important. It outlines assumptions that need to hold true for that particular activity, output, or outcome to occur. Now you can say the log frame matrix. The first is the column is of objective, which shows the goals, long-term outcome, purpose, intermediate outcome, the result or intermediate outcome of the project, then the output, tangible products or services that are to be delivered to achieve the purpose, and the activities, the key activities required to produce each output. These are the objective, then comes the indicator, then the data source, then the assumption. You can see the arrow points. Some it is its right side on, sometimes it is left side. What it means? If this holds true, it means then this should be achieved. Okay, so if this assumption is achieved, then it means this should be achieved. So by looking at this log frame matrix, one can easily judge where the program is going on. Moving towards a summary of the frameworks, the type of frameworks are now the conceptual, results, logical, and logic models. If we see the brief description, the conception, it is the interaction of various factors. Program management, it determines which factor the program will influence. And the basis for monitoring of evaluation, it is not, but can help to explain results. Results, the brief description, logically linked program objectives, shows the causal relationship between program objectives, and yes, at the objective level, it has for the monitoring and evaluation. Logical framework. Logically linked program objectives, outputs, and activities. It shows the causal relationship between objectives and activities. Yes, at the output and objective level, it has in monitoring and evaluation. And the logic model logically links inputs, process, outputs, and outcome. Shows the causal relationship between inputs and the objectives, and yes, at all stages of the program, from inputs to process to output to outcome and objectives, is the logic model. Now moving towards the recent updates. One of the article in the CDC Program Performance and Evaluation Office. A framework from program evaluation. Effective program evaluation is a systematic way to improve and account for public health actions by involving procedure that are usable, feasible, ethical, and accurate. The framework for evaluation in public health. As you can see, it is given. It is a practical, non-perspective tool designed to summarize and organize essential elements of program evaluation. You can see standards are the utility, feasibility, propriety, and accuracy. Then engage stakeholders, describe the program, focus evaluation designs, gather credible evidence, justify conclusion, and ensure use and share lessons. Adhering to the steps and standards of this framework will allow an understanding of each program's context and will improve how program evaluations are conceived and conducted. Furthermore, the framework encourages an approach to evaluation that is integrated with routine program operations. So the purpose of this framework to summarize the essential elements of program evaluation, provide a framework for conducting effective program evaluations, clarify steps, review standards, and address misconceptions regarding the purpose and method of program evaluation. And according to WHO and monitoring evaluation framework, in which the COVID-19 strategic plan and review plan monitoring and evaluation frameworks aims to assess performance and provide recorded information to support analysis of progress against the COVID-19 as strategic preparedness and response plan and related strategy update across the 8 pillars of the public health response and the 9 pillars of maintaining essential health services and system. Its main objective is to establish and maintain a set of global and country indicators to support strategic thinking, operational tracking, real-time evidence-based decision-making and advocacy, and transparency between countries, territories, areas, donors, UN agencies, and partners involved in this response. It is one thing which I want to show, that is guideline evaluation of research impact using available frameworks. Increased need to demonstrate research impact has resulted in rapidly developing landscape of evaluation frameworks. This paper synthesizes this framework and proposes the following rule of thumb to help guide the selection of evaluation framework for application within a specific context. First is be clear about underlying assumptions of knowledge production and definitions of impact. Attempt to measure intermediate and process-related impacts. Then the balance emergent and expected outcomes and balance indicators that capture nuance and those they simplify. So these are some guideline evaluations of further research impact using the available framework. Now moving towards the multiple choice question. First question, monitoring and evaluation is used to assess the performance of project, institutions, and programs set up by governments, international organizations, and NGOs. The purpose of monitoring and evaluation is to improve projects and performance of the organization, for competition in projects, for quality assurance, for record purposes. A. Yes, the correct answer. Yes, A. Our results framework is a graphic portrayal of the development hypothesis through which a mission expects to achieve the goal. What are the 3 components of the result framework that process monitoring focuses on? Intermediate results, strategic objectives, goals. B, output intermediate results, strategic objectives. Input, output, intermediate results, input, activities, and outputs.
D.
B.
Yes, the correct answer is D, which includes the inputs, activities, and output. Monitoring and evaluation framework assists the understanding and analyzing a program. What does a monitoring and evaluation framework include? Objectives, assumptions, indicators, and summary of activities. Objectives and indicators, goals and objectives, goals, objectives, and indicators.
D.
D.
A.
Yes, the A is the correct answer. It includes objectives, assumptions, indicators, and the summary of the activities. After a period of 2 years, evaluation is done and it is noted that in a BHU, there is an increase in number of deliveries from 30 to 45 per month with availability of lady health workers 24/7. The same target can be achieved in future if policymakers provide facilities of LHV's availability 24/7. Which criteria of evaluation standard is this? Effectiveness, efficiency, impact, sustainability.
D.
D.
Sustainability.
Yes, the correct answer is D, which is sustainability. A conceptual framework is a written or visual representation of an expected relationship between variables. The objective or general purpose financial reporting as described in a conceptual framework is to provide information to regulators, support the entity's tax return, meet the information need of an entity's stakeholders, provide financial information about the reporting entity that is useful in decision making.
Delta.
Yes, the correct answer is D, providing financial information about the reporting entity that is useful in decision making. A logical framework is a systematic and analytical planning process used for the result-based planning of a project or a program and for the associated monitoring and evaluation system. The logical framework approach is not most valuable when used for project design, when used for monitoring and evaluation, when the basis for implementation work planning, when used throughout the project cycle.
B. C. B. D.
Yes, the correct answer is D. It is most valuable when it's used throughout the project cycle. D. A log frame is another name for logical framework, a planning tool consisting of a matrix which provides an overview of project's goals and activities. To be most effective, project log frame should be prepared by project management and stakeholders, prepared by expert consultants, prepared by clients, prepared by project management team.
D. Or delta.
Anyone else?
Alpha.
Alpha. Yeah, the correct answer is A, that it should be prepared by the project management and stakeholders. Question 8. To cope with ongoing COVID-19 pandemic in a country ABC, 4,000 doctors, nurses, and paramedics have been trained for vaccination against COVID-19. This is which level of logical framework? The process, output, outcomes, and goal.
A. A.
No, no.
Beta. D.
Yes, B, output, because they have been trained 4,000 doctors. So output, B is correct answer. To eradicate polio from a country ABC, 200 people are recruited and a budget of 20 million rupees are allocated in a district XYZ. This is which level of logical framework? Input, process. Yes, the correct answer is input. An initiative to promote nutritional rehabilitation of malnourished children in rural areas requires support from local government, community leaders, and business owners. They are identified and contacted. Within a logical framework, it will be classified as a milestone, an outcome, an input, and or an indicator.
Input.
Yes, input.
C.
Yes, C.
C. Input.
Yes, C is the correct answer. This is the key. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sadia. Wonderful presentation and very nice participation by all the students. And I'm so happy that not only the presenter is enthusiastically presenting it, but all the students, they were participating and given their input. Whether it is right or wrong, it doesn't matter. The important thing is everyone is attentive during